All right, so we are streaming tonight?
Connect them up.
Oh. Everybody's looking.
I saw one of the cameras in here, didn't it, earlier today?
Notice it's cleaned up.
You're on the camera now. Woo! And so is the,
Yeah,
I thought, there it is.
oh, the hole in the wall is back.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Just put that at,
On the South Carolina Radio Network, be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback.
All right, stand by. Live.
A star is born and a bubble is burst. Get it out right. A star is born and a bubble is burst.
That's one job.
Come up to the other step. That's what it was on Saturday. Deshaun Watson is coming out partying in a big way in Clemson. Boy, that's how that kid's going to play. You can't expect that every week, but he has certainly set the bar very high for himself and the expectations. Tiger fans now all for charge. Watching the freshman quarterback throw 6 touchdown passes, throw for over 400 yards against him. The worst defense in America, but it still counts. He wasn't throwing against air. They were rushing him, and there were people in the secondary trying to intercept him. It just wasn't big. Still wasn't incredible start. Incredible start for Deshaun Watson. As far as the Gamecocks are concerned, well, these things catch up with you. You win a lot of games, sometimes by stealing games you didn't think you were going to win, and then you lose a game like that. That's what happened to the Gamecocks Saturday against Missouri, a game they had in their hands with 7.5 minutes to go, and it slipped away. It slips away from them with a defense that played great ball all night long, not being able to stop Missouri on 2 drives in the last 7 minutes.
Sometimes you will get you just definitely with it. But it looks like South Carolina is just I don't know how many fans are sitting in the stadium and thinking about that. Other than the overtime, that game was clearly different than the game we lost to Missouri. It didn't seem like it had the fans, you just played well, you crowd, and the reason they got won, and then now the threat is cool. So if there's a balance,
the biggest cheer of the night in Death Valley was after the game was over. They popped that up on the big screen, and South Carolina lost. And I put down like I said, and they have a different feeling out there now with Deshaun Watson. They are getting over him, and I know when they say the first thing they want to do is everybody's going this guy too soon. He is special. You know when you see special. You just know. You knew right when you saw Davion Clowney and Marcus Lattimore and Sammy Watkins. Even as freshmen, you knew these guys are special. Deshaun Watson is special. There's something different about Deshaun Watson.
But warning, defensive coordinators now are going to have a full game worth of film to study on Deshaun Watson, and they will be more prepared as the season rolls along. It's Sports Talk. It's Monday night. It's Main Street, Columbia. 800-956-7266.
Get up.
Be right back.
I gotta check.
Did we sound even?
It's. I can't remember which mic is pros. Let me double check that.
It's 2.
I'm 1,
One is 2,
3.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. One was. We used to have 4. See, he's not 3. Hold on. Go ahead, Pro. Help. Good. Okay, and your 3 came back. Is that right? Okay. All right. That's probably what it was. Yeah, I didn't know which one it was. Okay, Ace 2. And KMAX 3, got it.
Phone's ringing. 2 phones on.
Sports Talk, what's your name? Where you calling from? All right, hold tight, Chuck. We'll get to you in just a minute.
I just hung up on somebody, I think.
Did you put the,
Nice.
No.
did you put the URL in there, Matt? Pope?
Yes, will you double check it for me? I did.
All right.
I am a little rusty.
I know we've been all separated for about 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, well, we left our old place on July 31st.
Sports Talk, what's your name? Where you calling
This
from?
place wasn't ready.
What's up, Dylan? Hold tight, man.
So
Thanks.
we had to produce our show out of our Missouri headquarters, which meant our producer was gone. He had surgery, as you know, so he was gone for a while.
Oh.
And so just break. And so,
How many times did that happen?
and so now we're just all kind of getting back together.
Chemistry, that
Well, get the chemistry and just getting back in sync. You know, just trying to get back in sync. And there's still not. We've got a nice studio table coming, but they sent us the wrong one. They sent us one that was, half the size that it was supposed to be. That table sitting out. You might have seen it when you came in. That round table. That's what they sent. The one we're supposed to have is twice that large. So that's going back. Wait till the new one comes in. And of course, we still have to put up all the accoutrements on the wall.
Here's the other thing. Everything we say is going through this thing too. Everything we're saying is going into this. Can you mute it? Can you mute it there? Why don't you mute it there?
5 years ago.
Sports Talk, can you hold, please? Live.
All right, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Hope you had a great weekend. Don't answer that question, Gamecock fans. We know what kind of weekend you had.
All right, sorry about that. Sports Talk, what's your name? Where you calling from?
800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com.
Oh, at 95.9, is that right?
Sportstalksc.com. By the way,
Okay, so we're back on?
video feed back up and
Excellent, cool.
on the website, Sports
All right, well, fantastic. I'm glad we finally have, after all this time, we have somewhere to let you listen to us. No problem. We'll talk to you later.
I promise you we're better
Bye.
looking than Paul Smiley and much more entertaining to watch on video than he is. We're now back to Came-Mac way down to the main topic. We are actually streaming the show now again at SportsTalkSC.com. And of course, the audio feed is there as well at SportsTalkSC.com and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. We'll get to your phone calls in just a moment. Got some things to update. We'll hear from Steve Spurrier, Gavin Sweeney, Dylan Thompson, Sean Watson.
Sports Talk, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Well, he had his first news conference today.
It's
Talking about
Sports Talk. What's your name? Where you calling from?
August in New York State. Here we get to
All right, hold tight, Mike. We'll get to you in just a minute, man.
We'll be along as well.
Thank you, sir.
A look at Friday in high school football. So we got a bunch coming your way here tonight on Sports Talk. Quick reminder. reminder, tomorrow night, we'll be down in Mount Pleasant at the Town Center Bilo. We're going to be there to sample some pork loins and going to give away a $100 gift card. This all being brought to you by the South Carolina Soybean Board. And we'll tell you more about that as we move through the program. And look forward to seeing you folks down in the Charleston area tomorrow night. Come by and visit with us. The big kahuna, Bobby Hart, has promised to make an appearance with us tomorrow night. We'll finish up his show in our affiliate in Charleston. Come over and join us. You know, I called you on the board first to see if we can get a jail card first. But hope to see you all at the Mount Pleasant Town Center Bilo tomorrow. We'll be there doing SportsTalk from 6 to 8. All right. A couple of quick notes before we move on. Sean Watson came back. That's an honor today.
Their co-offensive back. It used to. John Watson picking up. I am officially on the John Watson bandwagon. I'm a believer in it. We can say everything we want about North Carolina defense. They're not a good defense. They gave up 70 to James Harden in East Carolina. All that being said, you can't take away what he did for the state when he had 300 yards of offense at the number 1 team in the country. He's a freshman. He almost broke every single passing record for a game in Clemson history. In his first start, Todd Boyd broke the single game passing record last year with 355. He did it at Syracuse. He grabbed that. 455. 355. Yeah, 455. He had 435, and he got to finish with 5 minutes to play in the game. He could have set that record, but he wasn't given the opportunity. He was also taken out for a series in the second half, in the second quarter, rather, where he didn't get a chance to finish the drive. So, to me, this isn't an understatement.
Sports Talk. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hold tight, John. We'll get to you in a minute.
Watson has something that he has that pocket presence that Todd didn't have. I know he's going to make freshman mistakes for you, right? He's going to make it harder on him, but he has something that other guys don't have. And what this guy's going to look like 2 years from now. That's what's scary. He looks like this now. Yeah.
And I know coaches play about every little thing. Like that was going to be running with the project.
They have no running game. No. They don't intercept the ball 5 years ago. That's a 1-touchdown game. And a game that you think Clemson is just pulling them away, and all of a sudden, it's one of the best games. All right, and as far as South Carolina goes, again, maybe they relaxed on defense. They went up 27. It's a real shame because the defense played extremely well. 280 yards, all the team 280, especially a team with a quarterback like Danny Long, the running back they have. That offensive line was pretty good. They were missing a starter, still pretty big, pretty solid. Yet come away with nothing because you could not hold on down the stretch. I'm sure that's something that has troubled Steve Spurrier when he was award over the weekend. You mentioned the 2-point thing. No excuse for that happening. Somebody on staff has got to know that the book says when you're leading by that number of points, you go for 2. It's automatic. Who's going to take it back? Steve Spurrier Jr., Sean Elliott, somebody upstairs should have been on the headset saying, hey, we go for 2 here. That's it. Right, that number where you automatically go for 2. And they blew it. They blew it as a staff. Spurrier blew it as a head coach. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get it. So it's an automatic thing. Yes. But at least you protect yourself. If you do get to 2, you protect yourself. You have 2 full touchdown leads instead of that 13-point lead. It's not to be enough. All right, 800-956-7266, and LSU has named Brandon Harris as their starting quarterback. The freshman will start against Auburn this week. His SEC play now really gets serious. Great league games on the rolling throughout the league.
SportsTalk. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hold tight, Dave. We'll get to you in a minute.
All right, 800-956-7266. Let's get some calls, and we'll go first.
Chuck, cell phone.
Chuck, he's on his cell phone. Chuck, good evening, sir, and welcome to Sports Talk. How you doing? Yeah, we're doing great. We built top this place so well this season. There's been no reason to stop going. And I don't know if he didn't have his best game Saturday. He was not as sharp as he has been. He missed a lot of people, but he had some drops. Remember, Roy, he had some drop touchdown passes that probably would have sealed the game by this season. Would have put them in great shape in the third one, because so that's what they got a field goal there. They got a touchdown. Exactly. But you don't know what was going to happen. It would have made it 28 to 7. But I'm just saying, you don't know what's going to happen in the third quarter on. But that certainly hurt. That they had no one to blame but themselves because they were at the 6-yard line. All right, and then they dropped the touchdown pass. So yeah, second down, you run a play, you got the quarterback running around, he's going for the ball. Third down, you get sacked. Now you have a big field. Yeah, that's on the team. That's on you. You had your chance to blow it. I don't blame Dylan. Dylan's still the best quarterback on the team. He still gives you a great opportunity throwing the football against these weak secondaries they're going to be facing. So there's no reason.
Oh, trying to listen.
South Carolina.
Still haven't fixed it yet. So, everything.
Something else that Missouri did well, they really cut down on the short pass game. They were not many yards after catch with USC.
10 seconds.
In that part of their game. All right, Chuck, thanks for the call. More calls coming up in a moment.
What a class guy he is. I told you the story. After the game, I'm
north south, 140 yards, 22 carries. And that's another positive South Carolina. That's positive in the game except for the last 7 minutes. They have to regroup. Kentucky's looking at this, even though USC's no longer ranked, they're looking at this as their big opportunity to score a huge win in their rebuilding period. They're calling for a blackout. And Kentucky, where it's black, the blue, they'll probably have a very large crowd. They'll probably honor basketball teams, some form of that. It's probably having their big recruiting weekend, probably having their practice started. Yeah, so they're probably going to do a lot around the basketball team as well. So if you're ready Gamecocks for a tough one there, Gamecocks are favored by 16 and a half. Okay, Gamecocks are 16 and a half road favorites. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've got it confused. All right, back to the call to go.
Delvin found in.
Delvin is found in. Up next with us here on Sports Talk. Hi, Delvin. How are you? So good.
But how many bad defenses over the history of Clemson, the Todd Boyd, Charlie Whitehurst, on down the line? I think they have to start. I mean, he's still nobody in the history of Clemson, in the ACC's history, no one's thrown more than 6. He's tied an ACC record, so you can dismiss it all you want. That's a true freshman, a kid that was in high school last year, did something that has never been done better in the ACC, in the history of the ACC. So, I mean, we can find reasons to diminish it all we want, and yeah, we're not ready to give this guy the Heisman Trophy right now, but it's pretty darn impressive for a freshman in his first start to go out row for 35 yards, toss 6 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive.
I'll tell you what, Clemson better find a running game. They better find a running game. I mean,
They scored. I mean, I think that I agree. You want to have
I got him
a
down.
team that they have to find a guy or a group of guys. They haven't found anybody that they feel good about. They scored 50.
Break coming up.
I mean, they did whatever they wanted offense against North Carolina by and large. So, that will put it in. They can't stop everything. They're going to try to take away the run.
which is maybe they throw a lot of plan to do.
I think they thought they were going to be easy with Deshaun Watson in his first start. Most of the freshmen making the first start, you think you're going to make them do some things that they don't want to do. And he's not your typical freshman. He's not.
All right, get a break. More calls coming up. 800-956-7266. It's Sports Talk Monday night. We'll be right back.
Test 1, check.
Anybody but the
Check 1, 2,
Orioles.
check. 1, 2, check.
Boy, what is this?
I'm sorry.
1, 2, check. 1, 2, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, check.
We are back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, as we roll into the most exciting sports month of the year. College football, NFL, baseball playoffs, NASCAR playoffs, NHL cranking up. NBA practice will be starting soon. College basketball practice cranking up. Everybody will be doing something here
Firing
in the
coaches.
month of October. Coaches getting fired. Kansas got rid of Charlie Weiss. Is that it? Is Charlie Weiss effectively done as a head coach now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can.
He'll end up as a coordinator somewhere
He'll
if
end up
he wants
back
to
in
be.
He
New
wasn't
England.
great at Florida as the offensive coordinator.
That's
This
true.
guy.
New England always brings back their fired coaches.
Just made his reputation off Tom Brady, I guess, and what happened there. We'll have recruiting for you coming up. As you probably know, Clemson got a commitment over the weekend from Ty Hudson, point guard out of Georgia. Good pickup for Brad Brownell. Brad Brownell's having his media golf outing on Wednesday. We'll be up there for that, and we'll chat with him about Tiger basketball. Tomorrow, a Talking Tuesday here on Sports Talk. I'll be with Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks. K-Mac's going to go up the hill to check in on the Tigers tomorrow afternoon. Talking Tuesday here on Sports Talk, presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybean.org. Pork powered by soy. And we'll have some good stuff to give away to you tomorrow night. Don't forget, we'll be at the Bilo Mount Pleasant Town Center. We'll be there for Sports Talk 6 to 8. Come on by and sample the pork loins that they'll be cooking up. It'll be a $100 gift card given away to a lucky listener at the store. Also, a pair of NC State and Clemson tickets will be given away to the Pleasant Town Center Bilo tomorrow. The Big Kahuna is going to come by and visit as well. One of my favorite people, Bobby Harden, does a great job on his program in Charleston leading up to us. And you have to listen to Bobby when you go to Charleston. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you're a Gamecock fan, you're going to love him. If you're a Tiger fan, you're going to tolerate him as best you can. And everybody else just listens in. But he is the king of the airwaves down there in Charleston. All right, 800-956-7266 up to Greenville. And John, welcome into Sports Talk tonight. How are you?
Doing fine. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, we're doing great.
I just like to, as a Clemson fan, I just like to take my hat off and give Deshaun Watson a tip of the hat. He really deserves it. And I think there's no way we can look beyond this year, but I think our next 3 years with Deshaun Watson are going to be very bright. We've got some very good, outstanding players coming in, and I don't see nothing but good things happening for Dabo for the next 3 years. As far as Carolina, I really think I think they're going to end up 7-5. I think they'll get beat this week.
Well, I don't think they get beat this week. Thank you for the phone call. I do think the Gamecocks right now are looking more at 8 wins than they are 10 wins or 9 wins. Mm-hmm. And this is something we talked about in the summer and the spring to Gamecock fans, and that is you've gotten used to winning 11. How are you going to feel when it's 8 or 9? And, you know, not too long ago, a Gamecock fan would give a leg for 8 wins, and he'd give a leg and an arm for 9 wins.
Well,
so my point is, this might not be the great season that you had expected. A lot of us had expected. I had expected the Gamecocks to be an 11-win team this year. Not going to happen. But still, if you have to take a step back occasionally and reorganize and regroup, then you have to do it with class and confidence that your team, your coaches have recruited well, and patience. I know that's a word that's not used very much in college sports anymore, but you still have to be patient. And just some years, it's not going to be your years. This could be the year Clemson turns it around and the rivalry swings back up towards the upstate. Clemson, even though they gave up 35 points to North Carolina, that defense is stout. And Deshaun Watson now has electrified this offense. Clemson has an array of offensive weapons that, between Mike Williams and now Jermone Hopper coming on and Artavis Scott, DeMar Kitt, if they refine the running game to some degree.
Who would have guessed after a month of the season, neither team would be ranked in our state right now? Both of these teams had conference championship aspirations, playoff aspirations, but right now, both teams just trying to get back into the top 25. But if they played this week, Clemson would probably be a 6-7 point favorite over South Carolina at home right now.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at it now, I think in both polls, South Carolina is 27, Clemson is 28. So they got time to climb back in if they do. The one thing I will say about the defense on Saturday, the defensive backs, for the most part, I thought played well. Those pass interference calls late, some officials won't call those pass interference calls. So if anything, South Carolina showed that they could play tight defense on wide receivers. And if I'm Lorenzo Ward, I tell them to keep doing what they're doing. Both flags were questionable on those interference calls.
Speaking of that, interference calls, I'm about to go the way of Buddha with the NFL. After watching the Packers and the Bears yesterday, the officiating was the absolute worst for both ways. And it's gotten now where, a defensive back can't breathe on a receiver without drawing a flag.
No, you can't hit him when he's defensive. It's hard to play defense.
And to me, that kind of takes a little something out of the game. I don't want to see, the NFL become nothing but a 7-on-7 passing league. But they are making it so that you can't cover anybody, and teams are just going to throw the ball all day long.
Look what's happening in college football now. On the Thursday night game with Arizona State and UCLA, Arizona State lost, 62 to 40 something. Mm-hmm. Arizona State had over 600 yards of offense. They had 39 first downs, and they gave up 62 points. East Carolina scored 70. Clemson scored 70. I know they're playing inferior teams, but it used to be really hard. Even in your blowout games, you wouldn't get that many points. I know it's not just the way things are officiated. You have up-tempo offenses, but it is a lot harder to play defense now. You can't hit the quarterback a half a second too late. They're calling all kinds of contact down the field. Defenseless receivers, essentially, you have to let them make the catch. If he's defenseless, you can't hit him. I mean, you're going to get called for that and flagged for 15 yards. If you try to, back in the day, you could go over the middle and try to knock a guy out, knock the ball loose by knocking him hard. But now if he's defenseless in the NFL or college, they're going to call you for a targeting penalty and kick you out of the game for that. I'm not saying that's bad necessarily. No. It's all about safety.
Well, one thing that they've taken out of the game right now is intimidation. You would see excellent receivers refuse to go down in the middle because they knew what was going to happen. Now they're just, going pell-mell down the middle, not worried about being speared or hit.
All right, back to the phones, 800-956-7266. And we go to Dave and Ward next up on Sports Talk. Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are y'all?
We're doing great. Thank you.
One thing I've not heard anybody say is what really cost South Carolina the game. And that was that bonehead call Spurrier made in the first quarter his own 43 and went for it. Knowing full well his defense ain't stop nobody and give him a short field. To me, that cost him the game.
Well, he addressed that, and he said it was something he doesn't think about going for it twice. It was something he would do and do. Of course, he didn't do it the second time when he had a chance to do it.
Yeah, he learned his lessons. But I mean,
he felt confident. He felt like they could get a
get
yard.
a yard.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's what he always. That's who he is. I mean, you can't get mad at Steve Spurrier for doing what he does. Steve Spurrier, it's been several years now. There was a time against Clemson on his own 26. He went for it.
That was out of frustration.
And didn't get it. And CJ Spiller scored the next play. And you're going, wow, what was he thinking there? But that's just who Steve Spurrier is. So you got to take that good with the bad. And a lot of times Spurrier gets those first downs and you go down to score a touchdown. And you're like, oh, that's why I love Steve Spurrier. He has the stones to go for it there when a lot of guys don't. I mean, that not going in for two, that was coaching 101. Like if you got coaching for dummies, they'd tell you in that situation with that amount of time left in the fourth quarter, there's no difference between a 12-point game and a 13-point game. They still need a touchdown. You'd still need a field goal to win it. You at least go up 14 so you don't have to be down a point.
I could see why
he let his foot off the gas.
I can see why you don't, though, because they had made them punt 10 straight times. The important thing is Cedric Cooper has emerged as probably their best consistent pass rusher, and he went out of the game, I think, in the third quarter.
All right, got to hit a break. We'll be back recruiting and more calls coming up. right, let's get to the recruiting reports brought to you by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Visit futurescholar.com and paint your children's future bright by investing in their college education. A big weekend at Clemson as far as a couple of primo commitments in basketball. They get 6'1" point guard Ty Hudson of Mableton, Georgia, committed on his official visit close to home. ACC basketball, loves the coaches and the players, he said yesterday. Had offers from Ole Miss, Creighton, Oklahoma State, Auburn, Houston, Kansas State, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, and others. 19.6 assists, 5 rebounds per game last season. And in baseball, Jack Leggett gets a commitment from outfielder Seth Beer. I love that name, K-Mac. Seth Beer, 6'3", 195, Sewanee, Georgia. And he is rated the number 7 player in the country in his class. And he's a 2016 guy. Also considered USC, Auburn, Florida State, Georgia Tech, LSU, Mississippi State, Florida, Georgia, Ole Miss, and North Carolina. Last year, he batted .589, 10 homers, 56 RBIs, 6-0 with a 0.53 ERA. Great commitment. Good luck getting into campus by the time he finishes high school with the major leagues drooling all over him, I'm sure. Football, offensive lineman Parker Boudreaux, who is 6'5", 281 of Orlando's, got 50 offers. He was at Clemson over the weekend unofficially, and he says it's been his favorite visit so far. Family atmosphere, great coaches, facilities, liked them all. Spent time with Robbie Caldwell and Dabo Sweeney. He's also been to Miami, Florida, Auburn, NC State, East Carolina, Marshall, Georgia, Georgia Southern, and Georgia Tech. Going to go back to Miami and also visit Penn State. He's also heard from USC, but no offer from USC. He'll narrow his list after the season, no favorites. And USC 2015 commitment defensive back Damon Arnett was in for the USC-Missouri game over the weekend unofficially. Came in with his parents. Atmosphere was great. Said everything was just great and liked how the secondary and the defense played. He doesn't plan to take his official to USC until January, but he also plans to take officials to Ohio State, Louisville, and Kentucky. He says commitment is real strong. He doesn't see himself going anywhere else. Also in basketball, USC had an official over the week from 7-foot center Roselle Nix from Pensacola Junior College in Florida, a native of Cincinnati. And he said he had a great visit, loved meeting with Frank Martin and the players, and feels like they could make him a better player if he ends up going there. Is not going to sign early, however. He's looking at Missouri, Tennessee, and Georgia for possible visits, and he is going to visit Pittsburgh. Right now, USC, Loyola, and Marymount, which he has visited out in Los Angeles and Pittsburgh, top his list with the Gamecocks and Marymount at the top, since that's where he has visited so far. And Greenville native Jawan Evans, a 6-foot guard who's out in Kimball, Texas, one of the top players in the 2015 class, going to make his announcement on Wednesday. Oklahoma State, Illinois, Southern Cal, and Texas are the schools that he is down to. And there you go with recruiting. And don't forget, you can catch recruiting every day, every night on our website, sportstalksc.com, hashtag on Twitter, hashtag ST Recruiting. That's hashtag ST Recruiting. All right, back to your calls we go, and we go to Otto out on I-26. Hello, Otto. How are you, sir? Otto on I-26. How are you? Are you with us? Sounds like he has faded away from us. So let's go to Jim in Lexington. Hi, Jim. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, it's good to hear you guys back on the air again. And, T-Mac, this is your favorite Florida fan. Calling again.
My favorite Florida fan.
Yes, sir. Last time we talked, I was sitting at the airport, getting ready to go back to Afghanistan. And last time I actually saw you guys, we were the pizza place in Lexington.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah.
Good to have you back on the air with us.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to hear you guys are back on there. I truly am. Corn, I need a Santa Corn favor from you, and then I need some true information from you, please, sir.
All right. A moment. Real quick. Go ahead.
As a Santa Corn favor, I need my Florida Gators to at least make a bowl game this year.
Granted. You'll end up in. How does Shreveport sound to you in late December?
I don't care if we play in Charlotte or if we play it in Myrtle Beach. I just want to have at least win 6 games this year.
All right.
Might
what's your
wanna
other
trade
request?
back to get your quarterback back from NC State.
Real quick, what's your other request?
I do a lot of volunteer work at a nonprofit group over here near Richmond Hospital, and I'm going to pay out of pocket to make sure all the families get to go to the zoo.
All right, hang on one second. We got to hit a break. I hate to do that to you on this subject. We'll be right back. All right, we'll get back to Jim and other callers in just a couple of moments. Right now, it's time for our South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance High School Football Report, heard nightly here on Sports Talk and brought to you by South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. We welcome in David Shelton of the High School Sports Report as we look back some of the top games from Friday night, David. And, well, off the top of your head, which ones really caught your attention?
Well, I mean, there weren't a whole lot of great matchups, but I think some games were highly competitive. I think the York-Rock Hill game turned out to be as I thought it would be. You know, I thought Rock Hill gave them a good game. I think the Seneca-Wren game, I don't know if you saw the clip on Huddle or YouTube or whatever, how that game ended, but Wren had a lead. Seneca took a lead with 13 seconds left in the game to go up 48-42, and they kicked off. And Bailey Rogers from Wren returned the kickoff 88 yards for a touchdown with less than a second left. And they won the game 54-48. And it was just an incredible way to finish. I talked to Wren coach Jeff Tate yesterday, and he said he's never seen anything like it. He's been in some big games throughout his career. He said the way that ended, the emotion by both teams. You know, Seneca thought they had won the game, had it won, and come up short with the long kickoff return, and then the elation that Wren showed. You know, Conway had a late run at Myrtle Beach, made it close, but Myrtle Beach ended up winning that game by a touchdown. You know, high-scoring game, but Conway made a big run there late to kind of score a couple touchdowns late. You know, most of the action was as, you know, status quo. There weren't a whole lot of upset. Dutch Fork really got back on track and manhandled Sumter in a rematch of last year's championship game. Not even close, about like last year's championship game. So, but some good games, but not any earth-shattering games, except maybe that Ren Seneca game, because it's such an important game in that region.
All right, now Hillcrest is undefeated. They beat Greenwood 35-16. Where has this team come from?
Well, Hillcrest, had won 11 games last year, got beat by Somerville in a game that maybe they should have won. So they've been coming. Greg Porter's doing a good job. They've been coming. They got a good quarterback, Colin Sneed, good skill people. So they're gonna probably win that region. Greenwood's kind of rebuilding a little bit with the new coach. But I think Hillcrest has been coming since last year, and they'll be a player at the end.
All right, 30 seconds. Loris shuts out Georgetown. Holds them to 20-3. That's a great defense the Lions have again. Can they compete with Dillon down the road?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to score with them. I think Dillon's going to find a way to score 4 times every time they play. It's going to be hard to score with them, but they're pretty good. Loris has got a good defense.
Okay, David, thank you so much, man. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later in the week. That is our high school football report for tonight, brought to you by South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Top of the hour break here on Sports Talk. We'll get back to your phone calls. Got some Steve Spurrier, Dabo Sweeney, and other stuff coming up as well. In our next hour, we'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
All right, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266, the number. A couple of lines have opened up if you'd like to jump in with us, 800-956-7266. I'm hoping that there's an official listening or maybe a coach listening who can set me straight on this. On the possession in the USC-Missouri game early where Chaz Elder intercepted Matty Mock in the end zone, there were 2 flags against USC on that play. One was for offsides. The second was for a blocking infraction on the return of the interception. Missouri declined the offsides and took the other penalty. And my question is, why wasn't the ball then given to South Carolina since it was a change of possession and that penalty occurred after the change of possession? Should it not have been South Carolina's ball and then yardage marked off against South Carolina? Instead, the ball Missouri maintained possession and the ball was moved forward with a penalty against South Carolina. How is that? How does Missouri, if they decline the offsides, which they did, if my memory serves me right, I'll go back and check the notes, but I watched the video last night, and that's what it was. The official said 2 penalties, first one's declined, offside, second accepted, blocking during the return. That's a change of possession foul, is it not, K-Max? Should that not have been South Carolina's
that's an
ball?
interesting one. I mean, I'm sure there's a rule in there.
Reason,
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm hoping
you haven't
somebody
heard
can clear
anybody
me up on that.
call foul on that. Yeah. But that is interesting to think, if you decline that offsides penalty and accept the block, okay, the other team gets the ball and you back them up 15 yards.
Yeah.
Well, see, my thinking is if it's an offside penalty, and that technically that occurs before the ball is thrown. If anything, it's Missouri's ball and it's moved up 5 yards from offside.
But they declined it.
But that's my point. I'm just thinking if it's continuous action, what are we to think? The logic tells you the officials are saying that.
Well, let's say
continuous action.
Let's say there had been no offsides. Let's say there had been no offsides.
Oh, it's South Carolina's ball.
South Carolina's ball, and they're backed up.
Yes.
I don't understand why that's not the case here, but must be a reason.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a personal foul supersedes a procedure penalty like an offside. I don't know.
But a change of possession's got to come into play there somewhere, I would think. All right, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. We'll get back to your calls in just a moment. Little note from Georgia coming out of their practice today. Mark Richt called an impromptu meeting with the media to announce that reserve defensive back Sheldon Dawson has left the team. He would not elaborate on the circumstances as to why the junior left the program. He had 3 tackles this season, did not start a game. He also confirmed that Todd Gurley was indeed falsely accused of assault by a fellow Georgia student over the weekend. The Athens Herald surveillance video from a downtown Athens bar showed the victim in question was in fact hit by a white male and not by Gurley. We'll be right back. Now, a reminder that Sports Talk tomorrow night will be down in Charleston. Hope you can join us. If you're down in the Low Country area, come by and say hello. We can put a name with a face and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to be at the Bio Mount Pleasant Town Center. Going to be there with the good folks from the South Carolina Soybean Board. Going to give away a couple of tickets to this weekend's NC State Clemson game. They're going to have some delicious pork loins for you to sample at the store as well. And also other giveaways with the South Carolina Pork Board Barbecue Tailgate coming up this weekend at Clemson for the Clemson-NC State game. Hope to see you there tomorrow night, Mount Pleasant Town Center at the Bilo store. We'll be there from 6 to 8 doing Sports Talk.
And a tweet coming down out of Lexington, Kentucky, the Wildcats have suspended freshman Dorian Baker, Drew Barker, Stanley Williams, Tamir DeBose for a violation of team rules. So they will not be on the field for the Wildcats. Barker's their freshman quarterback.
They went out to party after they win over Vandy.
Yeah, Barker's that highly touted freshman quarterback.
Yeah, I'm sure the G.A. Mangus recognized him.
Yes, because he recruited him very hard. I'll tell you, the guy they got now is Patrick Tolles, big, tall kid, about 6'5", and got a nice arm on him. The running back Hurd looked pretty good. I watched some of that game the other day, but obviously they struggled offensively against Vanderbilt, but defensively they snuffed out whatever offense Vanderbilt might have had. Even that good little running back Webb, who had a good game against South Carolina, they shut him down. So the Kentucky defense might be a challenge for South Carolina. The Gamecock defense, I think it's all about mindset for South Carolina Saturday night. If they go out and play with an intensity and a back to the wall sort of a mentality, they should beat Kentucky. Kentucky player for player is not as talented as South Carolina across the board. South Carolina should win that game, and they're favored by what, K-Mac? 5
points. Well, you know, when you look at it, I think Missouri was something like 2 for 16 on third down conversions, and you saw Matty Mark running for his life, you would think there's a no-brainer. South Carolina won the football game, but football is a strange sport. The ball takes weird bounces, weird flags fly, and it's interesting how things turn out. But the best defensive effort so far for the entire season.
All right, back to the phones we go, 800-956-7266, and we go to Gamecock Will up in Easley. Hello, Gamecock Will. How are you? And welcome into Sports Talk.
How you doing?
Hey, man, we're doing fine.
Good to hear you both. I got a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, Saturday night game hurt a lot. I think we had the game on, but we didn't. My questions are, if we lose another divisional ball game, we're going to probably be just playing for a good old bowl game, trying to better our bowl. You think you and K-Mac can talk about this, get y'all's opinion. Do you think we ought to start seeing Connor Mitch getting a little more playing time? And my other question is, this Nunez kid's coming in next year. Is he the real deal? Do you think he's good enough to come in and start as a quarterback, as a freshman? Because we going to need a good running quarterback for a change. I mean, we really need one bad. I know Farrah Cooper's doing the best he can, but, I know Dylan Thompson's doing the best he can, but, it's time to move on, get ready for next year if we lose another division game. I think you know what I'm trying to say, but I just –
Well, I hear what you're saying. Dylan Thompson gives South Carolina obviously the best chance to win because the coaches see him every day in practice, and obviously he's better than Connor Mitch. He's better than Perry Orth.
And it's not even close, by the way.
Yeah. So, no, you're not going to be fair to your seniors if you cash in the season like that and start thinking about 2015. I think you try to win every game, and you try to, forget about what happened this past Saturday night. Look at every game as an entirely new season and try and go 1-0 for the next 7 weeks Where are the Gamecocks? 3-2. Yeah, next 7 weeks, not counting the off weeks. Just try and go 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And no, you don't give up on this season. And no, you don't dump Dylan. It was not Dylan Thompson's fault they lost the game. Dylan Thompson threw a beautiful touchdown pass to Pharaoh Cooper, threw it where only Cooper could really go up and get the football. That should have won the game. That should have. It wasn't on. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a great offensive performance. If the offense had played normally, knocked in a couple of more touchdowns, that game's not even close. The way the defense was playing.
And for whatever reason, as he's gotten older, there's 1 or 2 passes that inexplicably Buster Anderson drops. And it's usually in the end zone.
He'd had a great start to this season, but he had the dropsies.
The tremendous carriage, the guy draped all over him. And then, Dylan floats a ball in, and obviously it had a little pace on it, but didn't need to. Go to your knees if you need to catch it. You don't need to catch it at your knees leaning down. So, that kind of cost him as well. Also, and not to pick on Buster Anderson, but when they were trying to run clock late in the fourth quarter, is 3rd down and 1 at midfield, and Missouri shifts their line, and Buster blinks, and it's a procedure penalty now. 3rd and 1 becomes 3rd and 6, and they didn't convert.
Yeah, it was that kind of game. The Gamecocks had, Elder's interception was wiped away. They had 2 other potential interceptions that they dropped. They drop a touchdown pass. They had that kind of game. They made the kind of mistakes that get you beat against a team that is pretty equal to you.
Beat South Carolina.
South Carolina is 0-1 against South Carolina. That's what they are. But no, don't hit the panic button. They're still winnable games. Look, they should beat Kentucky. Then they get a week off. They're probably not going to beat Auburn as things stand now, but maybe they look at Auburn as their chance to redeem themselves, and they go down there and play a massive game, and who knows? Maybe it's their time against Auburn. Right now, they should beat Florida.
Should they?
They should. And then you got Furman and Tennessee and South Alabama. Tennessee looked a lot better. I'll tell you, they're coming.
Justin Worley
looked good. Should still beat Tennessee at home. And then right now, today, you'd pick Clemson to beat South Carolina, but by this time next week, you might think the other way. You have to wait. Everything is week by week when it comes to how you feel about these teams.
I'm just maybe Jim Donnan is prophetic when he said that no team in the East is playing defense. Georgia's defense, Tennessee has no starter back from on their offensive line, and they were just blocking Georgia. That just freaked me out.
One thing in watching the Clemson game came out, the television announcers were just hammering Clemson's offensive line for being weak, for being not very physical, being soft, and not able to block North Carolina in the running game.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson has some issues that they're going to have to figure out, and certainly the run game, the offensive line, and there were some times where a lot of pressure on Watson. He was sacked a few times. He was rushed. His 1 interception, he was under duress and looked like a freshman on that play. He threw one up, and it was an easy interception for North Carolina. And on the defensive side, they didn't play as well as they did against Florida State a week ago, and you can expect somewhat of a letdown. But giving up the big plays, Georgia had some big plays, and by I'm not talking about 15 or more. I'm talking about 50-yard plays. Florida State tied the game on a huge play. Bad step by Mackenzie Alexander, fine, but Georgia had the multiple big runs in that fourth quarter. North Carolina had a 75-yard touchdown strike. One play, 75 yards. They had a 60-plus yard play on a funny formation where the tight end got deep, a 41-yard touchdown play. You can't give up those big plays defensively, so they have to shore things up a little bit there and not be exposed. They have to be dominant constantly. When that defense is rolling, they're going to be pretty tough, but you give out those big plays, it keeps teams in the game. And lost in this Deshaun Watson thing, it was a pretty darn tight game. And, North Carolina had a chance to make it a one-possession game. Dabo Swinney,
you were tweeting, and you were amazed by the fact that he went back to a Cole Stout.
Yeah, it was a 15-point game, and they went 3 and out. North Carolina went to the 15-yard line with the chance to make it an 8-point game with 2-3 minutes left, onside kick. They have a chance to tie the thing up.
All right, hit a break here on Sports Talk. Be right back.
defensive end has a pretty good ankle sprain. One of those high ankle sprains that will probably keep.
We're back on Sports Talk 800-956-7266. Previous caller also mentioned about Lorenzo Nunez, USC's committed quarterback in the 2015 signing class, and what to expect from him, and expect him to be redshirted and not to be heard from probably until about 2016 or 2017. That's what you hope. You hope you have quarterbacks on campus. I mean, listen, Deshaun Watson's not going to come walking through that door every day. All right, that's a special get for Clemson. He's outstanding, and he's certainly proving that so far. I'm not saying that Lorenzo Nunez is that kind of player or not. I've never seen him play. He's not touted in that manner. He's a very good quarterback prospect, but I don't think you're going to see him come waltzing through the door and have the offense walk right into an offense that was handmade for him. Remember, Deshaun Watson played in this offense he's running at Clemson for his entire high school career. When Chad Morris first got to Clemson, I think that was the first place he went, was Gainesville, Georgia. Mm-hmm. They identified him early and vice versa. He committed very early. They obviously made promises that he was going to get a chance to play right away if he's good enough, and he's proven to be. All right, thanks very much for the call. We go to Ronnie in North Augusta. Ronnie, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, Bill, Pro, K-Back, how y'all doing tonight?
We're doing just fine. Question is, how are you?
Well, I've accepted the fact we're not going to be as good as we've been the last 3 years.
You've come to terms.
I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, I think y'all are right on. If 8 wins right now would look like a good season, but this is the K-Back. I want to make sure now he understands what I said last week. I meant as a human being, I'm separating him from a sports announcer. But with 2.5 more years of Deshaun Watson, I think K-Mac's going to easily be able to work himself back into my most disliked. Because this guy's going to be special, and I'm going to have to listen to this and K-Mac up there covering him for the next 2.5 years. But one thing I will take issue with, and I've been saying it, and I have for 2 years now, and besides everybody saying it, I still do not think that this Clemson defense is all that outstanding. I mean, we can say if it hadn't been for this play, if it hadn't been for that play where they let down this week, but they've been doing this for 2 years. Every time it's the same old story. Every time they face a good offense, they march down the field against Clemson's defense, and their offensive line, they can't run the ball. So if they want to get to where they hoping to be, well, they've got no doubt he'll be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, if not the best, for the next 2.5 years. They're going to have to get some more pieces to go with him. They're going to get up there and compete with the Alabamas.
Right. Ronnie, let me ask you, if Clemson and South Carolina were teeing it up tonight, who would win?
Phil, I saw a lot of holes in that defense. I got to get cocky. We're going to get down some more film, and I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. I don't want to make that prediction tonight.
All right.
Oh, that normally Ronnie's quick to just pick the Gamecock.
Absolutely.
So at least a little frazzled, a little bit.
You
shaky.
have to be if you're a Gamecock
But he
fan.
does make good points about that defense.
Back with you on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblue, the Professor Tom Hayes, K-Mac Kevin McCrary, the Steak Man Graham Pope. We're all together and glad to be together with you here on Sports Talk. The FCS poll for this week, and Coastal Carolina, another big win for the Shots. They're 5-0. They're ranked number 3. This is in the official FCS ranking. Charleston Southern is 24th in the coaches poll this week. Another big win for them in overtime against Charlotte. Congratulations. Those two teams headed for a head-knocking showdown here in a few weeks. The game time for Clemson and Louisville set today for 3:30. They have not set the TV outlet, ABC, ESPN2, or ESPNU. That's on October the 11th. Louisville at Clemson could be a heck of a game on that day. USC is off on the 11th. Speaking of the Gamecocks, what was Steve Spurrier thinking about, let's see, the game ended around 10 o'clock or so. So what was he thinking some 15 hours or so later? Here was what Spurrier had to say at the outset of his conference call yesterday afternoon.
Cooper, defensive end, has a pretty good ankle sprain. One of those high ankle sprains that will probably keep him out 2 or 3 weeks. Cedric was doing some good pass rush, was doing some good playing. So we're going to miss him a bit in there. Other than that, most of the guys just have some sprains and a quad contusions, things of that nature, that they should be close to full speed by Wednesday. So we got 5 or 6 players like that may miss Monday, may miss Tuesday practice, but should be fine for the ball game at Kentucky. So that's the injury report, and we got to regroup and go up to Kentucky and get in a ball game with those guys. They really look good against Vanderbilt. I was just noticing they held Vandy 125, 30 yards, something like that. Only made 8 first downs, and they completely shut down Vandy's offense. So big challenge for our guys. We didn't play our best last night, and and hopefully we can get better for this Kentucky bunch as we go up there. Playing 7:30 Saturday night up in Kentucky, so it'll be another late one for us. All right, any questions?
Steve, looking back at the tape, what was the problem with the guys getting open downfield? Was it just the pressure on Dylan, or maybe their defensive backs really hitting receivers?
What was the problem with our guys getting open?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I guess you guys need to watch the tape. Yeah, sometimes we had some guys open, and sometimes we, didn't throw it there. But they did have good coverages too, and they had pressure on the quarterback. You stop offenses with pressure on the quarterback, and pretty good coverage. So yeah, give those guys credit for doing that. So we struggled a bit. Dylan was still, I think, 21 of 37. So statistically, he wasn't as terrible as we normally are. So we didn't hit many big plays. That's for sure.
Steve, this is Matt with the Herald Journal. You mentioned needing to keep Dylan healthy this season. Was it concerning how many shots he took last night?
What was that question again?
You said you guys really needed to keep Dylan healthy this season. Was it concerning how many shots he took last night?
Oh, well, yeah. It was concerning when they were only rushing 4 guys most of the time, and it sort of went right through 2 of our linemen. But anyway, the pass protection was not as good as it was against Georgia.
All right, Steve Spurrier from his conference call on Sunday. Now, Deshaun Watson had a tremendous day on Saturday in the Tigers' win over North Carolina. K-Mac, you were there when he spoke with reporters. How did he seem to handle the media and the questions coming at him?
That's the other thing about Watson that really impresses you. He doesn't walk or talk like a freshman. This guy is very good with the media.
Not really. I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting just get out there and get a W and execute. and that's what we did. And it happened. My O-line protected me, and my receivers caught big balls, so I'm happy to break the record.
Did you have a sense of peace or comfort knowing that you were the starter, not kind of having to sit there and wonder when you're going in? Because it seemed like you played just magically.
Not really. You're never satisfied with whatever your job is and whatever your role is. So, I always go out there competing and ready to go. And, I'm always relaxed when I'm on the field. I just out there. I love to go out there and have fun.
That second touchdown, you were lying on the ground. You were kind of pointing at the sky. I'm assuming you didn't see the second touchdown at all.
Well, I kind of seen it on my back, but I just seen G-Hop, Jamon Hopper just run underneath it, and I just heard the crowd yell, and I just pointed to the sky like, thank you. It happened to be a big play.
When you got to that hit touchdown, did anyone tell you about that record or whatever as you were going for that 6-1 when you had that touchdown pass?
Not at all. I didn't hear it until they announced it.
Did you feel the magic tonight? Did you feel it was starting to be special maybe in the third quarter? And, you knew you had 4 touchdowns.
Right. I'm always in the zone. Coach Sweeney always preaching before the game. Get in that zone, get in that comfort zone, and just be out there, relax, and have fun, and just go play lights out. And that's what I was doing the whole game. And I was just out there having fun. And then I found out that I broke the record, so that was exciting.
For most freshmen, there's a learning curve. For you, it seems easy out there. Are you surprised at how quickly you've been able to just jump in here?
Not at all. It goes back to my high school coaches preparing me for this moment, and then me coming in January and Coach Morris and Sweeney preparing me for this opportunity. They didn't treat me just as a freshman and take it easy. They threw everything at me at once, and I just had to learn it and mature fast because they was gonna give me the opportunity to go out there and play, and that's what I've been doing, taking advantage of it.
You threw an interception, and then you come right back, you scored, you throw a touchdown pass. Did that kind of settle you down even more after that?
Yeah, a little bit. The whole offense was kind of rattled at once, and they were doing some crazy things that was confusing us a little bit. And mistakes happen. That's what we do. And how many times we throw the ball, one mistake is gonna happen. We can't have a perfect game. I wish we could, but it's not gonna happen.
All right, Deshaun Watson learning how to play the game at the high level and also how to handle the media at the high level. And so far, he gets an A+ in both of those categories. But there's a lot of football to be played and a lot of ups and downs to go through. And again, as good defensive teams approach Clemson, and I'm not sure, when do they play a good defensive team? Obviously, NC's not a good defensive team. Louisville is shaky on defense.
Boston College is still Boston College. Georgia Tech. Don't tell that to Southern Cal.
That's true. They did beat them, but then they turn around and lose at home.
Yeah, one of the reasons you need the running game, though, is some defensive coordinators are going to go the other route. Obviously, you get a freshman quarterback, your thinking is the average freshman, you pressure him. Well, I think you're going to see now a heavy dose and a mix of zone to see if he can throw right windows. I think that's going to be the next look they try to give him. That's why you need that running game going, because you can just run against the zone defense really good.
All right, back to the phones quickly we go, and it's David and Andrews. Hello, David Andrews. How are you?
Hey, Corn. How are y'all doing tonight?
Man, we're doing great. Good to have you with us.
Good. I got a multi-statement / question scenario here. I was glad to hear Corn bring up the movement by Buster Anderson on the 3rd and short, because I thought that was a turning point of the game. Secondly, was the ball tipped, the touchdown pass to him at the goal line? Because there was some, either in my crowd or on TV, somebody brought it up. Third question or statement, the 2-point conversion, to be honest with you, when I heard y'all talking about it today, is the first time I even thought about it. I think everybody just got lulled into a false sense of security and just didn't think about it.
Hang on a second, David. We've got to hit a break here. We'll come back, let you finish your comments. The touchdown pass, you're talking about the one that Cooper? Is that the one he's talking about?
No, Buster Anderson dropped.
Oh, the one that he dropped. No, I don't think it was touched except by his hands. Be right back. right, Mick Mixon of the Panthers coming up in a moment. Let's let David and Andrews finish his last comment here. We had to cut him off at the break. Quickly, David, finish up, please, sir.
Well, just all I got to say, I was bypass the 2-point conversion. Bring on Deshaun Watson. Bring on Clemson. It will be a 6-peat this year.
Oh, a six-pack.
Oh, I hadn't heard
a
of
six-pack of
6-peat
victories
before.
for the Gamecocks. I don't know. That might be a stretch right now. What was the other key point he was making about?
He was talking about the false start.
Yeah, how big that was.
Yeah.
And,
when they were running out the clock or trying to.
All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. And, hey, keep wishing, keep dreaming. They still have to play the game in late November, and anything can happen. All right. We appreciate your phone call. The Panthers were dreaming for a win yesterday. It didn't happen.
Late blitz coming. Ravens pick it up. Flacco goes left side, tipped, and then caught by Steve Smith. Circus play, and Smith will score 10-5 and a touchdown. That's not even fair.
Eugene not happy when he saw that, Mick, and I'm sure everybody's stomach there on the Panthers sideline just got a pit in it, because the last thing, it's bad enough to lose to the Ravens. It's another thing to have Steve Smith playing it.
Oh, my golly. Yeah, I know, Corn, but I'm Captain Sunshine today, man. I wore a yellow tie to work. I'm spreading sunshine all over the place. I'm letting my light shine. It's not all that bad. We're 2-2 as a club, tied for first in our division. We're getting Frank Alexander back off of his 4-game suspension. Hopefully Thomas Davis is healing. D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart will. We just signed a running back off the street tonight. So I think it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Josh Norman's going to be in the starting secondary this week.
He's played well. He's been an enticing prospect ever since he came out of Coastal Carolina, Corn and joined our club. He's got the hard part right. He can ball hawk and hunt the ball and get picks. He intercepts balls at practice all the time. It's being sound in his technique, coming up and not getting burned on that slant, not being unsound at the expense of seeking the interceptions, and he's come a million miles in that regard.
Well, you're notwithstanding what Tampa Bay did in upsetting the Steelers, but this division, the South, are you looking at it differently now, Mick? Is 9-7 going to win this division? Nobody can win on the road.
It's funny we're talking about this. I was thinking the other day, it's probably a 1 in every 1,000 years probability. Wouldn't it be wild if every NFL team went 8-8 for the entire season?
That would be Pete Rozell's dream.
I know. They'd have to go to the rock, paper, scissors to figure that out. But you're right about the NFC South. It's one of those divisions where it seems like if you win it, you're not going to win it the next year. And it's just part of the DNA of the NFL. Who could have thought that the Cowboys would do to the Saints what they did last night? No one could have predicted Tampa Bay beating Pittsburgh, the travails of the Falcons, the Vikings, and others. And then I guess you could throw the Panthers in there, too, with a 2-0 start and then being 0-2 since then.
What's the latest on D'Angelo Williams? Any chance he plays against the Bears this weekend?
I don't think so, Corn. We'll know more Wednesday when the injury report officially comes out. But he was in some discomfort on the flight home yesterday with a sprained ankle, and so he's listed as doubtful right now. What was the reaction from the locker room to Steve Smith and his performance and some of his chattering out there to the team? And did the guys just kind of take it as he's still one of our guys, or how did they react to that? Kind of like that. I think everybody wishes Smitty well, but it was painful. I think the Panthers were hoping that he would not show as well, because it's personal for Steve. Every drill, getting a drink out of a drink machine, doesn't matter, whatever it is, it's a competition for him. It's personal for him, and yesterday was his day. Yeah. Who do you like tonight? Kansas City and New England. Yeah, New England's 2-1, but not looking really like themselves. But it's hard to bet against them because they're such chameleons. They can morph into whatever kind of team they need to be to win. So I guess I like them. How are you reading it? Probably pick Kansas City at home. New England has been struggling. Their offensive line's had a lot of issues, and I look for Kansas City to probably win the game at home. That'd be my guess. Me and you will bet some rice planters chicken at yesterday's on it.
I like that. Real quick, who you got on your show tonight?
Well, we had a late scratch. Thomas Deku had to scratch, and so we're going to have Ron Rivera. Coach will be on in person tonight, and then we'll be talking to Wes Horton, who's done a fine job providing depth at one of the defensive end spots with Greg Hardy out.
Okay. Mick and the Panthers call-in show coming up around the Carolinas after we're done here at 8 o'clock on some of our stations around South Carolina. Thank you, Mick. Have a great night. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully, after the Panthers beat the Bears. I need the Panthers to take care of my rivals in the NFC North. So I'll be certainly rooting for the Panthers on Sunday after my Packers take care of the Vikings on Thursday night this week. And we'll be right back. Coming up on the end of the show, if you want to jump in for a quick comment, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. And let's see, what I want to mention to you here. Jimmy writes into us talking about South Carolina. Everybody's talking about the two-point conversion. What I want to know is when we, South Carolina, had first and goal at the 5, why did we run 3 straight pass plays? We've got 2 running backs averaging over 4 yards per carry. And we call 3 straight pass plays. We must not have learned anything when Georgia made the same mistake 2 weeks ago. Well, you wouldn't have had to call 3 straight pass plays if the first pass had been held on to in the end zone. You would have had a touchdown, and you'd be saying, gosh, what a great call by Spurrier. Hit the tight end off the 5-yard line in the end zone. You know, that messed up everything. So I think at that point, after they all of a sudden were facing second and goal instead of having a touchdown, Spurrier felt that was their best route to go. He doesn't – he probably still doesn't have a great in the running game, so to speak. Maybe it's growing some as Davis is showing up a little bit more. But he still likes to throw the ball at every opportunity, and I guess he felt that was the best way for them to get into the end zone. They did get into the end zone. I mean, they had the touchdown, and the young man did not complete the catch. So it was a good call at that time. It was well executed in all aspects except finishing the play.
I think if anything, the question is, even though you're calling the same play and it's redundant, much like last year late against Missouri, you and I, Corn, were commenting about it. Every time every time they utilized the screen, it worked because Missouri likes to just funnel everything up the middle and put pressure up the middle. Every time they threw the screen, I think about 3 or 4 times, it worked just like last year. But he refused to throw that screen.
Boy, talking about screening, boy, Missouri will screen you to death.
Mm-hmm.
They love to throw the screen, and they're quite good at it. Let's see, on our website, sportstalksc.com, a lot of comments there. This is from Don talking about South Carolina. Just wish the coaching staff and players would show as much energy as the fans. Hire a new coach for offense, and maybe Spurrier could get both sides of the ball to play better.
Wow, you want to fire Spurrier as the offensive coordinator?
No, he just want to fire him as the assistant special teams.
This is from Rob talking about the 4-year scholarships. I think USC needs to start getting some 4-year guarantees in return from some football players too. Have you seen the D? That was before the game. D's getting better. I've told you every week since Texas A&M, after the second game, I said they got a little bit better. After the next game, they got a little bit better. There's no argument that the defense is getting better. Let's see what they do against Kentucky this Saturday night. You know, if they come out and play with some intensity and with their hair on fire. Let's see what kind of attitude this Gamecock football team carries into the Bluegrass State. Mac, have a good trip.
Will do.
To Clemson. We'll be with you folks from Charleston, Mount Pleasant, the Bilo tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Steak Man. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.